Have you ever had a moment that splits your life in two? A single, clean break between the before and the after? Mine came on a Tuesday, under the humming fluorescent lights of a grocery store parking garage on North Clark Street in Chicago. My 7-year-old son Leo was holding my hand, his small fingers sticky from a candy bar. He looked up at me, his eyes wide and innocent, and asked the question that shattered everything. "Daddy," he said, his voice small, "why was Mommy kissing that man in his car?" The world didn't just stop. It fractured into a million sharp-edged pieces right there in the concrete dust. I knelt, my heart hammering against my ribs, and forced a smile that felt like broken glass. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment the man I used to be died, and a much colder, more patient man began to take his place. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The before was a life I thought was perfect. 15 years with Sarah, a house in Lincoln Park, a son we both adored. It was a life built on a foundation I believed was solid granite. But after Leo's question, I started seeing the cracks. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now permanently attached to her hip, its screen angled away from me with a practiced flick of her wrist. Late nights at the office became more frequent, her excuses vague and dismissive. Just wrapping up the Peterson account, she'd say, her voice too bright, her eyes not quite meeting mine. She started talking about a new colleague, Mark. He was just a friend, a mentor, someone helping her navigate a tough project. The way she said his name, though, was a little too familiar, a little too soft. The coldness came next. It was a subtle shift, like the first hint of winter in the air. Her touch became fleeting, her laughter strained. When I tried to talk to her, to bridge the growing chasm between us, I was met with a wall of manipulative anger. "Why are you so insecure all of a sudden?" she'd snap, turning my fear back on me. "Am I not allowed to have friends? You're suffocating me. The villains always feel untouchable, don't they? They stand there, bathed in the light of your love and trust, and tell you the darkness you're seeing is just a figment of your imagination." I felt myself breaking. One night I found myself sitting in my car, parked a block away from our home, just staring at the warm glow of the windows, feeling like a ghost haunting my own life. That was the night I stopped being a victim and started being a hunter. The first piece of proof was a receipt tucked into the pocket of her trench coat. A hotel bar. The Langham, right on the river. $200 for 2 cocktails and appetizers on a Wednesday afternoon. She was supposedly in a client meeting. Started digging. I wasn't proud of it, but I wasn't the man I was before either. I installed a keylogger on the family computer. The emails were sickening. Not just the logistics of their affair, but the way they talked about me. He called me the ball and chain. She called me clueless. They mocked my loyalty, my predictability. They were planning a future, a life they would build on the ruins of mine. I printed every single email, every chat log, every hotel confirmation. I opened a new bank account and began quietly moving half of every paycheck into it. I contacted the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a shark named Ms. Albright, and laid the thick folder of evidence on her polished mahogany desk. Her only response was a slow, satisfied smile. The trap was set. Sarah's arrogance was my greatest weapon. She was planning her company's annual charity gala. It's a massive event at the Museum of Contemporary Art. It was her crowning achievement. The night she would shine in front of her entire professional world, including her boss and the company's board of directors. Mark would be there, of course. 2 days before the event, I served her with divorce papers. The look on her face wasn't sorrow. It was pure, unadulterated rage. "You're trying to ruin my big night," she screamed, the mask of the perfect wife finally slipping. "You will not do this to me." Oh, but I would. That was just the opening act. The main event was yet to come. The night of the gala was a blur of champagne, fake smiles, and glittering dresses. Sarah was in her element, floating through the crowd, accepting praise, a queen in her court. Mark was never far from her side, a smug grin plastered on his face. I played the part of the supportive, if slightly distant, husband. Then came the keynote presentation. Sarah had prepared a video, a glossy, self-congratulatory tribute to the company's success. As the lights dimmed and the video began to play on the massive screen behind the stage, I saw her look at Mark. A shared, secret smile. But the video that played wasn't the one she'd made. It started with a photo of our wedding day, and a photo of Leo's first birthday. Then, the screen went black, and an audio file began to play. It was her voice, and his, from a phone call I had recorded. Her laughing as she called me clueless. Him bragging about how he was going to get that promotion over me. The silence in the room was absolute, a crushing weight. Then came the emails, displayed in stark black and white for everyone to see. The hotel receipts, the plans for their romantic getaway to Miami paid for with our joint account. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I just turned and walked out of the museum, leaving the smoldering wreckage of her life behind me. Ms. Albright had already filed motions, freezing her assets and ensuring the affair was entered into the court record, citing the use of marital funds. Her company fired her the next day for conduct unbecoming. Mark was fired too. Her friends, the ones who had pitied me and judged her, vanished. She was left with nothing but the public shame she had so carefully cultivated for me. I see her sometimes, across the park when I'm with Leo. She looks smaller, diminished. The arrogance is gone, replaced by a hollow-eyed bitterness. We don't speak. There's nothing left to say. The house was sold, the assets divided exactly as I'd planned. I won. I destroyed her. But as I watch my son laugh on the swings, I know that victory is just another word for loss. I saved my son, but I had to burn down his whole world to do it. The end.